This video is brought to you by the FARMER-KLEIN YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to another Farming Simulator 22 Map First Impressions video. Today we're going to take a look at Southern Cross Station. But before that, this video is brought to you by Belkira and Chad Bergman. Thank you for being farm barons. So Southern Cross Station is going to be able to be downloaded over at Hawks23FS Mapping's Facebook. You do not need a Facebook account in order to get to this page. The link will be down in the description below. And I do know that this map has been submitted multiple times to the Giants Mod Hub, but the map author appears to really have wanted to get this out for Easter weekend. So he has released it on his Facebook page for PC players at this point. But it sounds like he is still trying to get it submitted to the Giants Mod Hub for all platforms. Let's read a little bit of the description. Happy Easter weekend. Here is Southern Cross Station for PC. Hope you enjoyed, and if you do, maybe consider supporting his work. And there is a link then to a PayPal page on the Facebook description. The map contains a southern climate to reflect Australian seasons, one starting farm, but there are other options, 6 sell points, 8 production points, 28 fields, ranging from small to large. And, well, let's just go ahead and jump on in. We are going to use the mods that we use when we take a look at maps. That is additional field info, additional game settings, field lease, and field calculator. We are also loading this map up on new farmer mode, but if you happen to load this map up on farm manager or start from scratch, the main farm will look exactly how it does in new farmer mode, with the exception that you do not own any land. Now, as the map was loading up, we did see a few warnings, but most of these are innocuous and can be ignored. It's basically saying that some of the vehicles on the map were pre-configured for guidance steering, but since I do not have guidance steering enabled, when I take a look at these maps, then the GPS configuration is being ignored in those vehicles. So here, the Mack Pinnacle, there was a John Deere 7810 that was configured that way. There was the large Rostolmash tractor was configured that way. The New Holland Harvester was configured that way. And then there was another warning related to farmland IDs not set for all pixels. So that is something that could be as innocent as one little pixel on the map isn't painted for farmland IDs, and then it kicks that little error. So that is something that probably isn't going to affect you too terrible much with your gameplay. So here we are. When we load into the map, we load right smack dab here at the main farm. Lots of big buildings, lots of space to put down additional buildings, and even animals if you should so wish. Let's go ahead and take a look at the PDA. Now, the description said small to large fields. I would really say this map includes medium to large fields. I don't really see any small fields on this particular map. We do have all the standard crop types available to us here in Farm Sim 22. And if we take a look at the lands, we start out by owning fields 1, field 20. We have kind of a grass area over here that is 16 acres in size. And then the main farm, which is 20 acres in size and is $121,590 to buy. We zoom out, we can see that we have a fair bit of other land that we can buy scattered around the map. We cannot buy the main town here, nor can we buy the road network. So that is something to be aware. We will be restricted a little bit with respect to our terraforming if we want to do that. There is a train that crosses through the southern part of this map. As best I can tell, the train tracks are merely decorative. There isn't an actual usable train that is being available for you. Let's take a look at our farmland lease menu. And we use this in order to quickly show the size of the buyable farmlands, and if any particular farmland is associated with a field, which field it is associated with, and then also what the ultimate cost is going to be of that particular piece of farmland. So you can see we start out by owning 4 plots, farmland ID 1, 2, 8, and 9. And then those costs are respectively represented. Farmland 3, which includes fields 2 and 7, is $676,000 and is 45 hectares in size. Looking here, the smallest field that we see so far is field 8, which includes farmland 14, which is 4.15 hectares at $62,000. We have another small plot here in farmland ID number 22, 1.82 hectares, $27,000. This is likely one of the alternate possible starting areas for the farms. There you go. We're going to go ahead now and look at the field calculator screen. This is going to show us just the fields and just the sizes of those fields. So we start out with field 1 and 20. That is 6.22 and 3.49 hectares respectively. Farmland or farm field 2 is 18.78 hectares. Field 6 is 6.51. 8 is 3.1. So far, that is the smallest field on the map, is field 26 at 3.27 hectares. And then the largest field looks like it's going to be possibly field 16 at 22.46 hectares in size. Now, if we take a look at our crop calendar, you will know that by default, you'd start in August. But on this map, you start in February. Now, other than the start month, we do have the standard base game crop calendar available to us. It's just the months are flipped 6 months different. Let's go ahead and move on down here to our prices screen. And you will notice that we can indeed sell every single crop that we can grow in Farm Sim 22, including sugar beet cut. But what we cannot sell, interesting enough, we can't sell all of our animal outputs. We can sell our silage, our hay, straw, and grass. But there are a few select production items that we cannot sell. And these are kind of interesting production items. We cannot sell fabric or clothing or cereal. We can sell everything else down here to a point. We cannot sell chocolates, nor can we sell furniture. We do have bulk lime buy points, and we do have a stone crusher on the map. Now, the reason fabric, cereal, chocolate, and furniture are rather interesting aspects of things we cannot sell is because we have a spinnery, we have a cereal mill, we have a dairy, and we have a carpentry shop on the map. So we have ways to make those products that we cannot sell. So if you're going to play on this map and you're going to do the production that's on this map, I really, really encourage you to download a placeable sell point that lets you sell those products, or put down a in-game placeable sell point that will accept those products, because for whatever reason, those products are not available for purchase on this particular map. Now, if we take a look at our starting equipment, it is all new. It's all owned. None of it is leased. Take a look. We do not have any animals at the start. We do have contracts available to us, and we do not own any production at the start. Let's go ahead and move up to our starting equipment. Start out with the John Deere 7810 medium tractor, the Rostelmash RSM 2375 large tractor. We have the Mack Pinnacle Semi, the New Holland CH 7.70 harvester. That is paired up with the Verifee 28-foot grain header. We then have the 1986 pickup truck, the Load King Distinction triple hopper semi-trailer. We have the Bergman GTW 330 auger wagon, the large Rostelmash K12200 cultivator, the Lemken Solitar 12 seeder. We have the Hardy Mega 1200L sprayer. We have the Quickie 6-meter front loader arms. We have the front loader pallet fork. We have the Convey All auger, and then the Meridian TL129 augers. And then we close it all out with the Brogman MHAL 4320 trailer. So the fact that we have the two augers is going to tell us that we indeed have a Meridian bin for our grain storage. And this Meridian bin is going to require us to use those augers to fill and then to empty. Let's go ahead and take a look at the rest of the farm here. It's fairly straightforward. We have lots of large buildings with our machinery parked underneath. Now, as far as can the farms be customized? Only partially. In fact, the 3 sheds that you just saw here cannot be sold. They are basically permanently a fixture of the map. We have fuel storage. It is permanently affixed to the map. We cannot sell it. In fact, we cannot even put fuel in it. Oddly enough. We have our Meridian bin. We've already looked at. We can sell the Meridian bin. We have a easy shed over here that is permanently affixed to the map. We have a water fill point that is also sellable. And then we have some more sheds. We have our large conveyor auger, our auger wagon, our unload Meridian belt, and then our raw Stolmash 2375. And then the last aspect of the main farm is our farmhouse here. We do have a sleep trigger, as well as a wardrobe trigger. There's your sleep trigger. Here's your wardrobe trigger. And we can sell the house. So we can sell the farmhouse, we can sell the Meridian bin, and we can sell the water trigger. Everything else that you see here is permanently installed. So we can only partially customize the main farm. I was going to take 3/4 of a point off for this because there's just such a large amount of the farm that we cannot sell. But then I was looking at it and I was thinking, well, there's a fairly large bit of the farm here that we have open to us to put other buildings down in. So the fact that we can't sell some of these buildings, while disappointing, isn't really a game breaker for someone playing this map that wants to change the farm up a little bit. There's still room to do that. So I'm not going to go that severe with the point knock. I'm only going to knock off a 1/2 point with respect to the farms being customizable. So let's go ahead and get set up for the fly around. We'll fly around the map, come back to the shop, get our Mahindra like we usually do, and then drive around to all the various points of interest. Now, as I said, this map has production built in. The description said it has 8 production items. I count 9. It has 9 production items. We have a sawmill. We have a bakery. We have the carpentry, the cereal, dairy, oil, grape processing, spinnery, and the sugar plant. And of that list, what's important to remember is we cannot sell fabric. So we have a spinnery that makes fabric, but we can't sell fabric. So you might think, well, just put down a tailor, but we can't sell clothing. A little frustrating, right? Then we have the cereal mill, but we can't sell cereal. We have the dairy, but we can't sell chocolate. And we have the sawmill that makes planks. Okay, we can't sell planks. Or maybe we can sell planks. Sorry, misspoke. So we can sell planks. That's cool. We could also take those planks or logs to the carpentry. They'll make furniture, but we can't sell furniture. And these may be simple missings of the map author, oversights that are going to get corrected soon after release, before the modhub release. But still, it is important to note, as of this release, on Easter weekend, those fill types cannot be sold on the map. So you may want to put down a base game sell point that allows you to sell those things if you really want to be producing those things. Or you may want to put down a mod that will let you sell those things in order to basically make use of and maximize the production that has been pre-placed on the map. Now, as we come across the top of the map, you'll notice for the most part, this map is fairly flat. Fields are rectangular-ish in shape. There's some interesting and irregular fields, but for the most part, they are fairly rectangular-ish. Right? Coming over here to one of the smaller possible alternate farmyard areas. And that is just south of field 21. We have one large shed and a little bit of a yard here. Then we have another option just south of field 5. So on the map grading, we're giving the map a full point with regard to the production. 9 items being built into the map is more than adequate. We also have some decent flat land here and there where we could put down other production items should we so wish. As far as the sell points, while we can sell all the crops that we can grow, we can sell all the animal outputs that are possible in Farm Sim 22. What we can't do is we can't sell the fabric, clothes, cereals, chocolate, or furniture. So we're going to go and knock a quarter of a point off for that regard. And then we've also already talked a little bit about the farms being customizable and taking a half a point off with respect to the things that are permanently affixed at the main farm, and the fact that we could put down other things because the main farm is fairly spacious, but still it would be nice to be able to sell all of those buildings. And I'm not really sure what's up with the fuel pump and the fact that 1, we can't sell it, and 2, I can't seem to activate the trigger on it in order to 1, see how much is in it, and 2, to actually fill it from the trigger. So here we are coming into Southern Cross Station's town area. This is where the bulk of the production and sell points are going to be located. This is also where the farm shop is located. And that's where we're headed right now. And here we are at Clever Motors here in Southern Cross Station. So we have our customized sell, repair, and trade trigger located right here. We see the icon, but we do not see the hashes so much. So we're really not sure 100% where that might be. I'm assuming it's going to be right here. And if we go to F5, we can definitely see that it is indeed located right there. But it would be nice to have had the hashes on the ground so that we have that visual information. We'll have to pay attention to the other sell points and production areas on the map and see if we are missing those markers for other areas. Here we have our shop trigger. Let's go ahead and get the Mahindra. We'll see where the vehicle spawns in at and how large of an area we have for the vehicle to spawn in at. We have a pretty decent size gap in the fencing here to get vehicles and equipment out of, which is good to see. It does narrow down a little bit at this point, but I do think the road is still adequately wide in order to get some big time stuff out of here. We also have a fairly large break in the fence over here by the fuel station. But let's just go ahead and make our way out of this particular entrance. See, we have a pretty wide area of road here. Nothing really close to the road edge as we We'll be making our way out of the shop back to the farm. I don't think there would be too much of a problem bringing large air carts or other field work equipment from the shop to the main farm. We have our fuel station located right here. And then right behind the fuel station, we have our stone crusher. And I really do like the treatment of the stone crusher. We have a bit of a ramp, so we could dump into the top of the stone crusher. Or if we wanted to, we could just come here along the side of the stone crusher and dump it in there. We do know that we will get more money if we dump it into the top. And here we have a sell point. This is the Southern Cross Flour Mill sell point. This is not the production flour mill. And then we have our cereal factory. So we have our dump station, our pallet spawn point, and our interactive trigger. We have our bale sell point located right there. And here we have an interesting combination of things. Zoom on in here. We have a lime station. We have 2 lime stations, I guess, to fill very big things quickly. Interesting. There's our vehicle shop. We have our grape processing plant to the left. It's just a base game grape plant. We have our bread, or sorry, our bakery to the right. Our sugar mill is directly in front of us here. Base game sugar mill. Not too much out of the ordinary there. Here we have our spinnery. And just a base game spinnery production point. Taking our way further around, we have the base game dairy and the base game carpentry just on the other side of the street there. We have our animal dealer located down here in the southeastern corner of the map. Overall, I think the town design is pretty nice. I kind of like how it's all set up. The roads here, there, and yonder. We have our oil mill. Let's swing on in there. So we have our pallet, we have our dump station, we have our interactive icon, and then we have some supporting structures here at the oil mill. I like how we have supporting structures at some of these sell points to give it a sense and a feeling that it's actually an industrial area and not just a building plopped down all by itself. We do have a empty piece of property here. Let's check and see if this is a piece of property that we can buy. It is not a piece of property that we can buy. But for PC players, if you use the Paint and Terraform Anywhere mod, you will be able to put something down there even though you cannot buy the land. Here we have 2 sell points at the grocery store. One of these may be set up for production, the other may be set up for bulk and loose crop. Then we have our little diner. And that is pretty much going to conclude the sell points that are here in town. We're going to have to turn around in order to cross the river. Let's go ahead and jump into first-person perspective as we drive over to the next segment of the map. So this is designed to be an Australian map, hence the description about the months being different to support the southern hemisphere. Something that we have not seen in other maps to date is this hemispherical change with respect to the months. So we're starting in February as opposed to starting in August. And here we are coming up to a grain sell point. I was kind of looking. It looks like almost the blue icon is supposed to be there, but it's not. That's where we're going for the next sell point. That is Miller's Sawmill. So while the growth calendar is the same, when you start out, you're going to be able to harvest crops. You're going to be able to plant crops as if it's fall for the southern hemisphere, or the end of winter, the beginning of spring for the northern hemisphere, if you think of it from that respect as far as how the months are set up. So we have our sawmill, we have our dump station here for our logs, we have our log sell point, we have our pallet spawn point, and our interactive trigger. We have a wood chip point right here. Now it's interesting how this map is laid out, where all of the sell points for the most part are on the southern part of the map. Whereas the main farm, which is directly in front of us here, is kind of more central to the map, and then everything to the north of the farm is 100% farmland. Things to the south of the farm, there's a couple bits of farmland, but for the most part, it is the town, the river. We have some forested areas and sell points and stuff like that. So as far as driving around the map, we don't have far to go in order to sell our goods or transport our goods. But we would have a pretty decent clip to go if we were to want to, go up to the top of field 21. Or 23, let's say, and then transport that all the way down here to the bakery. Now, with respect to the buildings, where appropriate, using the new texture technique and the ground textures, we haven't looked at the ground textures quite yet. I would say that we do have some buildings that are not using the new texture technique but it doesn't deter from the overall aesthetics of the map. So I am just going to go ahead and give the map a full point on that regard. Take a look at our placeables. We have all just base game placeable stuff. Nothing new as far as production, customizations, orchards. Animal areas are all default. And we have 6 base game textures that we can paint down. This is another arable farm location. We'll head on over. We have 2 more. Oops. Today's we have 2 more areas to take a look at. So if you've been waiting on an Australia map, then this one just might tickle your fancy. Let me know down in the comments below, what do y'all think of Southern Cross Station? Those Australians in the mix. How does it feel? How does it represent Australian farming, Australian town layouts, rural Australian agriculture? There we have a dump station. And this is the Grain Corp. And then the last place we're going to take a look at is Southern Cross Grain. Overall, looking at how these roads are set up, the entries and exits to the various sell points, the production areas, I think some of these larger production points are set up well for large trailers, possibly road trains to be set up. I wouldn't necessarily think about bringing a road train into possibly the town and where some of the production areas are. But some of these outlying sell points, I feel, are set up fairly well with easy ways in and out for potential road trains and the like. Hop over the scale, hop over some railroad tracks. Then we have our dump station right here. So let's talk about the scoring of the map. We give it a full point with the production because it has 9 built-in production items. We're taking a quarter point off with respect to the fact that we cannot sell fabric, clothes, cereal, chocolate, or furniture, even though we have a spinnery, a dairy, a cereal mill, and a carpentry shop, right? All of those output the products that we cannot sell. The main farm isn't necessarily totally customizable, but we do have a pretty decent area to put other things down to allow you to customize the farm. So we're going to give the map a half a point on that metric. Buildings where appropriate are using the new texture technique. For the most part, lots of the buildings are from FS22 that are using the new technique. We do have a couple buildings that are from previous versions of the game that are not using that technique, but they're not bad enough to the point where they really deter from the visual the visual sense of the map. So we're going to give the map a full point on that regard. And I am going to have to take a quarter of a point off for the shop. I really wish that it had the yellow-black hashes at the shop maintenance trigger to clearly indicate where that is. We've got the blue floating icon to tell you where to activate it. And you can kind of guess and derive where it would be. But it's not clear. And that is the metric that we're looking for. Trigger and player interactive areas are clearly marked. So we're going to give the map 3/4 of a point on that regard. So folks, that's going to knock this map back to a modest 4 out of 5. It's still scoring fairly well within our scoring metric. Let me know what you all think down in the description below with respect to Southern Cross Station. As of the production of this video, Southern Cross Station is available for PC only because it is released over at Facebook. You do not need a Facebook account in order to download this map. So if you are a staunch Facebook person that is fully against Facebook and everything that it stands for, first off, good for you. Second off, you don't need an account. It's not going to ruin you. So just click on the link down below and click then on the download link in order to get the map. Or you can wait until it finally makes its way over to the Giants modhub, hopefully for a release on all platforms. And until next time, happy farming.